What does this title mean? I'm going to tell you. While the world watches allegations from Hollywood to Congress, sexual harassment and assault occur every hour of every day in schools. Students should have been a centerpiece of the Me Too movement, but many adults do not know how often students deal with sexual harassment and assault. Their ignorance is not solely their fault because students have struggled to speak up, often because there is a discrepancy in the definitions of these terms and when they are used. I was violated by his harassment. I was a bystander. I should have spoken up sooner. I listened to commentary on our clothing as he dictated what was appropriate and what wasn't. That's sexual harassment. It can be words. I heard her laugh back at him, knowing she was uncomfortable. I was a foot away when he announced which freshman girl had the best butt. That's sexual harassment. I was runner-up for an arbitrary title from someone I don't respect, something I didn't want, and yet a disturbed part of me was pleased. I saw him stare at my best friend's breasts and pontificated about their size. I was disgusted. I wasn't scared, yet I still didn't say stop. I watched as he grabbed another friend's thigh. That is sexual assault. It doesn't have to be rape. I stood idly by while the conversation continued as usual. I did not think any of this was okay, but he made it seem so normal. He said these things as casually as he talked about politics, memes, sports, and classwork. He's a senior. We are all freshmen. We didn't say stop. I wanted to, I could have, I didn't. None of us did, not until later. When he tried to take a video up my friend's skirt, she then said no. When he sent nudes on Snapchat, they then blocked him. Why did we wait? How did we allow him to continue? And how has this become normal? To educate and prepare our students for a life of productive citizenship. That's my school's mission. And in my not so humble opinion, they are failing. Productive citizens don't merely vote. Productive citizens treat others with decency. If our schools don't teach us the difference between right and wrong, then not only do we feel victimized by assault and harassment, but shamed for speaking up or attempting to. A teacher and a principal had the audacity to tell us that there would be no more interaction between us and him, as if that solved the problem, as if we would be reassured by it, as if there weren't a multitude of other women just in one building. That was their response after talking to 5 young women separately, all affected by one man. That was their response after reading a description that detailed every problematic instance we could remember. When my friend and I went back to the assistant principal who had talked to us and the perpetrator, we asked what they had said to him. Initially, we were told he would be reprimanded. She said it was not her prerogative to tell us anything. Wasn't there at least a system or protocol? The phone rang and she shooed us out. We weren't asking for a transcription of their conversation or an inventory of his punishment. Whether or not he was, we wanted to know how these situations were handled because we didn't want anyone else to experience what we had, and we wanted him to be educated. I do not know what's going on in the life of the person who harassed me, but without education, without being taught to find our voices and vocalize them, without discussion of physical and emotional boundaries, or the implications of sending and requesting nudes, without a preventative approach, without engaging in conversation, he will become another Harvey Weinstein, and others like him will become James Franco. He another Morgan Spurlock or Travis Smiley. He another Mario Batali. He another Al Franken. He another Garrison Keillor. He another Roy Moore. He another Matt Lauer. He another Charlie Rose. He another Russell Simons. He another Jeffrey Tambor. He another Louis C.K. He another Steven Seagal. He another Ed Westwick. He another John Besh. He another Kevin Spacey. He another Ben Affleck. He another Dustin Hoffman. I want all of us to be educated. Educated on what sexual harassment is, educated on what abuse is. Empowered to say, stop. Our administrators should echo our voices saying, this is wrong, this is not normal. Our schools should nurture our voices and teach us to use them. We need to be taught to recognize harassment and assault and be equipped with words to utilize. And most importantly, we should be educated in places that develop our morals, not deny them. I am disappointed and I am angered. Disappointed that educators didn't act, didn't understand our concern for ourselves was minuscule compared to our desire that sexual harassment and assault stop scathing our peers. Angered that we were met with deaf ears and people who pretended to listen. I do not tell this story because I was a victim. I tell it because I am far from alone. I tell it because I am privileged that I wasn't raped or groped, privileged that my parents always told me to speak up and do the right thing, privileged that an administrator even sat down with us. In many schools, they don't. Students cannot speak up for fear of discrimination, for fear of appearing weak, for fear of being ignored, because they do not know where to go or because they have all too often become desensitized. I wanted to know what other women had experienced, so I sat down with them. Women of color, Muslims, Jews, Christians, LGBTQ, from various socioeconomic classes. If I could use their names, I would, because not only are they people, they are strong. They are women, not girls. These women have been crushed and beaten, sometimes both figuratively and literally. Time and time again, they have come back to school because they didn't have another choice. They have been unsafe and remain silent. Their pain has gone unseen and unheard. This does not have to be rated on a scale, but their stories are more horrific than mine. A junior told me her butt is grabbed at least once or twice a week in the hallway. That is sexual assault. Without hesitation, she responded to my question of how the perpetrators made her feel. Like I am not human. Her response evokes the idea that inanimate objects do not feel. So many others are numbed by the frequency of these events. When a person becomes a thing, that is objectification. When a woman is only seen as her ass or breasts, that is objectification, that is dehumanization. Our school never provided guidelines for how students should report or respond to harassment and assault. I never heard the words sexual harassment or assault uttered by a teacher or administrator before I had said them first. Thank you.